Thank you for joining me on Strategic Beliefs and Core Stories. This is how we help you get over yourself so you can actually get what you want. Today we're talking about being confident versus being insecure. You know, confidence versus insecurity. Which one would you rather have? Well, it turns out it's a choice. And we'll share with you today how you can make that choice in your life so that you can get what you want. All right, super excited to have you on the show today. Today we're talking about confidence versus insecurity. Now, a lot of times there's this idea that you fake it till you make it. That's a good idea to kind of pretend to be confident, and maybe you've tried that before, but inside you're just dying inside. Maybe you want to try the idea of fake it until you become it. That's another great idea. Now, the better idea is to not fake it at all, but to just become it. To identify ideas and thoughts, and it's really evidence in your life that shows that you have confidence. And so really, as we look at confidence versus insecurity, we're going to be able to see a lot of examples of that. But first of all, let me tell you a little story. So years ago, I went to my first personal development conference. So come with me. It is December in Las Vegas. It's kind of cold outside. This is the first time I have experienced personal development speakers, and they come up on stage one after the other, after the other, after the other, and they just have everything that you want in life. And I'm looking at them just thinking, how do they do that? And they're speaking with confidence, and they're speaking without notes, and people are following them, and it's this amazing experience. But you know what? For me, it's this like horribly terrifying experience, because I have this little voice inside of me that says, Scott, you need to do that. You need to help people like that. And it just terrified me, because in my mind are all these doubts and fears and limitations, thinking I could never do that. I could never be on stage. I could never speak without notes. That's not me. And it terrified me. It freaked out my body so much. I was like Niagara Falls under my armpits. I was like sweating through my jacket. I sweat, through my t-shirt, through my dress shirt, and through my sport coat. And I brought 3 sport coats, and I sweat through all of them. I was just so nervous. And I thought, this is never going to work out. And then on day 3 of this conference, I sat down for lunch with this guy named David Corbin. David Corbin was a phenomenal speaker, and he talked to me and he said some really interesting things. And have you ever been with somebody and maybe they're talking to a group, but you feel like they're just talking to you? That's what it was like for me. It was like he could see into my soul. He could see exactly what was going on in my life and what I needed to do to be the person I needed to be. And it was frightening. It absolutely terrified me. There were 8 people around this table, but boy, it felt like he was just talking to me. And he shared this story about the first time he ever went to a Toastmasters meeting. And I don't know if you know about Toastmasters, but it's where you prepare to begin to learn to speak. Well, he went to this Toastmasters meeting because he felt like there was something inside of him that was saying, David, you need to be a speaker. You need to get out there and you need to share your story, because your story matters. Your experience matters. And it terrified him. He told me that he sat at the back of this Toastmasters meeting, right back by the double doors, so that if he passed out, he wanted the EMTs to be able to get to him and revive him quickly. He was absolutely terrified of it. And as he's talking to me, I'm thinking, this just totally resonates with me, because here I am just dripping in sweat because I'm so nervous about this idea. Just even the thought that maybe I should be a public speaker terrified me. Talk about insecurity, right? I mean, I was living insecure. Oh, it was horrible. Well, the other thing that he said while we're talking is he looked around the room, and over on the wall was one of those AED devices. Now, you know what these things are, right? You've seen it in the movies. It's where the EMTs, when they come in and they shock somebody back to life, and they use these electronic things. My wife calls them cha-chunkers, cha-chunk, because it starts their heart again. Well, he looked over there at one of these devices, and he said, what if you knew how to use that device, and somebody in here was having a heart attack and somebody needed you, and you could save them, but you didn't. You didn't because you were afraid, because you were insecure, because you didn't live up to who you were. What if God had given you a gift that only you could bring to this world, but you were too afraid to share it? And as he spoke, those words just penetrated and hit me. And I knew he was talking to me, and I knew that's what I needed to do. Now, it's been several years since then, and it has been a long journey. And it wasn't just an easy flip of the switch. It wasn't going from total insecurity of just where my body's shutting down to being confident where I could talk in front of a camera, talk intimately with you. It hasn't been like that at all. It has been a journey. It has been steps all along the road. But as you're looking at how can you take that journey? How can you go from having insecurities in your life to having confidence, to having the ability to stand up and share who you are and what you're about? And really, that's the important thing is, because once you understand your identity is who you are, why you're here, and what you're about. And if you can figure out those three things, you're going to know. You're going to have that confidence. You're going to have that quiet assurance, and you're going to be able to live true to who you are. So let's just kind of talk about a few scenarios where you might have confidence or you might have insecurity. So you just want to kind of look at these and see, okay, where am I right now? What are some things that I could do to pivot? So first of all is comparison. Now, comparison is a super easy thing. It happens to us all the time. Now, to know if you're a confident person or if you're an insecure person, consider when you compare yourself, do you compare yourself to others or do you compare yourself to your previous self? I just told you this very vulnerable story about me like sweating and dripping and the person I used to be. Now, if I compare myself to David Corbin, who went on to become a National Speakers Association lifetime member, made millions of dollars speaking and is eloquent, he's amazing. If I compare myself to him, that's a sign of insecurity. Instead, if I compare myself to where I was, hey, I'm doing pretty good. That's another way. And not only is that a more powerful way, a more constructive way to look at your beliefs and the things that you're focusing on, but if you think about it, if you consider the journey and you're looking back at yourself and you're comparing yourself to who you previously were and you can see this rate of change, that's going to boost your confidence, because what you want to do is you want to protect your confidence so that you can move forward to who you want to be and where you want to be at. So hopefully that kind of helps you. Now, another thing is mistakes. So when you look at mistakes, you know, do you push them off? Do you hide them? Do you try and pretend like they didn't happen? Do you avoid them? Or do you own up to them? You know, do you say, okay, I did that. I made that mistake. I recognize that. And when you own that, that's a sign of confidence. I mean, it takes a really confident person to say, yeah, I made a mistake. I think there's a Stuart Smalley, I think that was his name. He used to do stuff on Saturday Night Live all the time. And he used to share this thing that said, it takes a really big man to cry and an even bigger man to laugh at that man. Well, okay, anyway, that's just kind of an aside. But so often we think that you're a big man if you pretend like bad things don't happen to you and if you don't acknowledge your mistakes. But actually, you are much bigger if you acknowledge your mistakes. Humility. Humility is this wonderful thing. And often we look at humility as a sign of weakness. But no, to be humble, to be genuine, to be your true self and to show up as who you are, to ask for help is a sign of confidence. It's not a sign of insecurity. If you don't know how to do something and you ask somebody, you are confident about who you are, why you're here, and what you're about. I hope that helps you. I hope that as you kind of think about some of these traits that you've got, and are they showing if you're confident or are they showing that you're insecure? Think about, compliments. When you compliment somebody else, do you worry that, okay, wait, that's going to disrupt this balance of power here if suddenly I honor her more, and say that she's great for what she did, is that going to now make us unequal? Again, that would be a sign of insecurity if you're looking at it like that. But if you're looking at giving a compliment as something, as a gift that you can bestow, as love that you can share, again, confidence comes from having a true identity, an identity that resonates with you, where you know who you are, you know why you're here, and you know what you stand for. You get those things together, and you're going to have an amazing life. What can you add? Now, are you ready to join the conversation? Are you willing to add your voice, your thoughts, your ideas, your impressions? If so, add them in the comment section below. We need your voice. Now, if you have been inspired to take action, don't let an impression slip by. Train yourself to listen to and follow your inner voice. Of course, the best place to take action is at scottwilhite.com, because if you join me for a free web class, you will receive a copy of my Purpose Planner, the tool you've been missing that will help you uncover your purpose. You can totally do this. Your roots produce your fruits. Choose your beliefs and pick your identity. It is choice, not chance, that determines your reality. See you next time.